So I talk quite a lot about the place that we're currently living in, which is Caacupé. But increasingly, I've also been speaking about the small town of Atyra. And that's particularly relevant because we're moving there in a short period of time. And I think increasingly I will be recording from here and talking about the place directly and indirectly. So I thought that it would be a good opportunity just to introduce you to this beautiful little town that we're going to be calling home. And I also think that I need to make some videos of other places around this particular place, because what I really love about the area that we've decided to settle in is that it has a constellation of beautiful little towns, really unique and different. And I think that it really adds to the experience of living here. One of the things that we didn't want to do when we came to Paraguay was to move too far from Asuncion and be in a place that might be very beautiful but can sometimes be kind of out there. We wanted to have the ability to access different places, and this really fits the bill. Atyra, Caacupé, Tobati, Aregua, Ipacarai, San Bernardino, Pirababui, Eusebio, Ayala, Itacarubi. Not all of those are in the department of Cordillera, but they're all around about, and several others. And on top of that, we can easily access Asuncion, the capital. So with all of those things combined, we think it's a really compelling place for us to be. But why did we specifically choose Atyra? Well, like a lot of things, it was a two-way street. It kind of chose us because very seldom do decent properties come up for sale here in this town. Every now and then they do, but I've known several people who have said they would have liked to have moved here, but they just couldn't find anything. Because when you come to Atyra, you really get a feeling that people are really happy here. It is a very chilled, happy, peaceful little town. So I think that that adds to the reality that not a lot of people actually like to leave. So if you do find a property that you really like here, well, you're probably in a rare position because it doesn't always happen. But it did in our case. We found a beautiful little property just a little bit out of this town, within a couple of 100 metres, so we consider it to be essentially Atyra. But we're really rapt to be here because we really value the place. Apparently, Atyra was founded in the 1500s. It has a population of around 15,000 people. It has the lofty title of Capital Ecologica del Paraguay. And it was awarded that title apparently because of its absolute insistence on keeping the place clean. It's won various awards, and even the World Health Organization recognises it as the 8th cleanest town in the world. And hey, that's coming from the World Health Organization, so it must be right. But, you know, just walking around, you often see municipal cars driving around and scooping up little bits of rubbish, not just rubbish trucks, but I saw a SUV pull up the other day and a municipal official hopped out and just picked up a couple of little bags off the dirt road that I was on at the time. And Atyra is also quite famous for its artisans. Leather, fabric, wood. Atyra is really a place to come if you want a beautiful handbag or a leather hat or a terrarium cover. They have all sorts of things that are really quite stunning, and the artisans here are really quite revered. So that's another lovely feature of the place. And when I talk about this constellation of towns that this town finds itself in, that is the case. In other parts of this immediate area and the surrounding towns, you have amazing potters and ceramics and all sorts of things. There's some really clever people here, and it's really quite different from one town to the next as to what sort of artisans you'll find and what their specialty is. But that's just a little bit about Atyra. A lot of what I love about a place like this, you can't really capture it too much in a video because it's a lot about the vibe. I think you would know that you can go to some places and they can look amazing, but there can sometimes be a feeling. But then at other places, there's an entirely different vibe. And if I can say one thing about this place, it has a really beautiful, relaxed, peaceful vibe about it, and it's what we really love. But that's a little bit about Atyra. It's 60 odd k's from Asuncion, easy drive to the capital, easy drive to Caacupé and just about anywhere else. So geographically, it's also really blessed, I think. But it's also home to the Marianela Monastery. The design of our property is actually based on that of the Marianela Monastery. And as you'll see, it's quite an amazing structure. So I might just head over there now and show you around there because it's really a significant part of this beautiful town of Atyra. So I've been waiting for a nice day to come out to Marianela Monastery and show you around, and today I've hit pay dirt because it's absolutely stunning. Not too hot, t-shirt weather, but you know, a nice breeze, so it doesn't get better than that. Maybe someone had a side gig, I'm not sure, or perhaps they just went and did that after they did this, but either way you can see that they're definitely cousins. Maybe ours is on a slightly smaller scale, but the essential design elements are unmistakable. So here we are at the entrance of the Marianela Monastery in Atyra. And it is such a surprise when you come here because Atyra is only a town of 15,000 people. And you've got this magnificent monastery just on the outskirts. So who would have known? I'd heard about it quite a bit when we got to Paraguay, but it took us a while to actually get here. So the monastery is based on a monastery in Italy, I believe just outside of Rome, the Monte Cassino Monastery. It was constructed between 2003 and finished in 2008. Has 72 hectares and accommodation for 200 people. Apparently it has dining facilities and it's kind of a few things wrapped up into one. Function centre, a place to come and just meditate for a few days. But it seems to be, at least in the times I've come here, underutilised, but it's good to see today there's quite a few people here. Seem to be some school groups and stuff, which is nice. I have some friends who have told me that sometimes they book in here and just do a bit of a quiet retreat for a few days. And apart from today, when I've come out here, there's been not a lot of people here. So I can imagine you could hang out here and just chill out for a few days. The grounds are quite expansive, 72 hectares. It's got orchards and cattle and all on organic principles apparently. And it is quite an amazing structure. One of the things about Paraguay is because it had a disastrous war back in the 1800s, a lot of its original architecture was lost. When you go to other places through South America, you see some magnificent architecture going back hundreds of years, but in Paraguay, a lot of it, unfortunately, was levelled, as I understand, during the disastrous war with its neighbours. So it's really lovely to see something like this, which is really eclectic and unmistakably Italian with its use of ceramics and the way they've done everything. It's absolutely Italiano 101, but it is nice to see a beautiful structure like this in a place so beautiful, because I think that it's part of the deal in South America. You really do expect to find some beautiful buildings with the Spanish influence, and Paraguay unfortunately was a little bit put out in that regard.
Creer que te puedo traer la luz del sol y las estrellas. Si quieres depender de mí, que te ilumine a ti, toda mi energía. No te hagas ilusión, no quiero ser tu salvación, tampoco soy tu religión. Hacete cargo de tu vida. Mi amor no significa posesión, no significa solución de tu problema. Resuelve tus dilemas. Yo prefiero vivir sabiendo que hay.
And one of the things I really love about this place is the celebration of the local bricks. Not too far from here is the town of Tobati, and there's a lot of brick kilns there. They do all sorts of different types of brick, and they really have turned it into an art form. And I recognise a lot of the different elements in the building that we own and just in general around the region. So I think it's a beautiful testament to the brick makers here, which I think bricks, who cares, but these are really next level, and just the way that they've incorporated them and really put a lot of care and attention and love and detail into the floors and all the rest of it. I think that they've really built something that is a real celebration of that craft. It's funny, the school kids have just cleared out now. It's as quiet as. And this is how I often find it here when I come. It's just beautiful and peaceful. So I imagine I'll be availing myself of this place every now and then when I need to regroup and just have a chat to myself and God. Another interesting thing just to point out with the roofline, you see this quite commonly, and was obviously a part of the older type of architecture, is they don't have the guttering on the roof, but they have it on the ground. So it's just a different way of catching water. And as you know, I'm obsessed with water and how buildings deal with it. So I think that's quite cool. And it just runs off to somewhere. But so there you have it. A bit of a walk around one of my favourite towns, Atyra, and one of its main attractions, which is this beautiful monastery. And I hope just in a little bit of a way I've been able to convey in this video the feeling of the place. And that's what I really enjoy about Atyra, is the vibe. It's just a very happy, tranquil, relaxed place. And I hope you're finding some tranquility wherever you are in this very funny world that we live in. So until next time, take care. Ciao.
Si quieres creer